Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel, and thanks for logging on. If you enjoy these videos, please subscribe to our YouTube channel right here at Watchbox Reviews. I would really appreciate it, and I promise to update daily. If you love this watch, you can see it, and you can purchase it on our website, thewatchbox.com. Today, we discuss one of the most prominent Vacheron Constantin launches of SIHH 2018, part of the 56 collection that's new for the year. This is the Day Date model, reference 4400 Echo, a timepiece 40mm in stainless steel that combines some vintage cues and modern fit and finish. On my 16cm circumference wrist, it wears easily. It has a modern stance with vintage charm and Vacheron Constantin attention to detail and elegance. But I should also mention that this is something of a misunderstood collection, and we're going to look at this watch and check it out inside and out while doing some myth busting in the process. Now, the Day Date is expected to be the volume model in the Far East, at which this collection is admittedly targeted quite heavily. But even here in Philadelphia on the east coast of New York, I love the way this 40mm steel watch wears on my 16cm wrist. I would actually say you could wear this watch on a wrist as small as 14cm circumference. Lug-to-lug, Vacheron strikes a good balance between full size and right size, that is to say between fit and fashion. Big sizes are cool, but it's got to stay on the wrist and look right in proportion, so 48.4mm from lug to lug is an excellent size for a full-sized but not oversized modern men's dress watch. It's 12mm thick, and it's the slope of the case flank that makes this one wear easily with a cuff or a shirt. It's sloped and double-stepped, so it slides easily underneath any overhang. And you'll appreciate the fact that the lug spacing is a versatile 20mm, so you'll have a bevy of aftermarket and OEM strap options if you want to accessorize. But you should at least consider the factory piece, as it's nicely executed in a dark anthracite gray. It's not quite black. It's a very dark gray, and it's a semi-gloss, large rectangular scale alligator bolstered monotone stitch in that same dark gray anthracite with a folded edge, calfskin on the underside. It is a very high-grade piece from Vacheron, and it's matched with a full deployant clasp. So talk of the 56 being an entry-level collection, entirely off base. The timepiece features a double deployant clasp with double finish, Maltese cross motif on the chassis, both blasted and polished internally. Nicely executed. Maltese cross on the buckle itself. It even has a recess for the pin of the pin buckle. Attention to detail is strong, and this one features the swing arm doubling as a spring for the trigger release system, so you're not going to drop this while donning or removing. The watch is often described as inspired by the 1956 reference 6073, but this overriding bezel extension adjacent to the lugs is the only part of the case that seems to directly reference the 6073, and that's just as well. It's a handsome flourish, and it does add a little bit of a layered appeal and structure to the case, but that's really the only vintage accent that I can see. The case band is where this watch comes alive. All of the charisma and sex appeal of this watch is in the shape of it. First of all, that cambered arc works well on a small wrist. It actually folds around your wrist, and you can see that there's a little bit of a Pastille style tucked inverse ducktail or teardrop to the bottom of the lugs. You'll also appreciate the fact that there's a bevel that runs along the flank of the lugs and actually flares at the midcase. It's the opposite of most caseband bevels, which typically flare at the end of the lug and then thin out at the midcase. The watch has a handsome sheer guard about the crown, which is oversized, remarkably flat, and deeply knurled, stylized with an oversized Maltese cross. Design coherence with this one is strong. It has a layered look to it, which gives it a more muscular appearance than a standard dress watch. Now, jumping to the dial of the watch, I want to highlight the fact that it's surprisingly complex, and nothing about this dial says entry-level watch. In fact, you'll note that all of the applique indices and numerals are applique white gold with hands at center to match, so premium materials as well as a applique Vacheron Maltese cross motif at 12 o'clock. Now, the dial does have a Day Date complication with sunken registers for each, and there's a little bit of a polished chaptering outboard of each one. You have both opaline and sunburst textures on this dial, and you can see outboard there is a sort of anthracite gray railroad track for seconds and minutes, and then inboard a piano key chaptering that frames the center dial, scalloped by the sub-registers. There is a power reserve scale for the 40 hours of power reserve at roughly 6:30, and you can see that the watch is a handsome array of grayscale tones, but don't undersell the textures as well as the reflective qualities of those textures. They really bring this watch to life. You can loop this dial and feel fulfilled. Turn it all over. Let's bust some myths right here. The notion that these are entry-level watches with customer calibers and lacking the Geneva seal. This is Vacheron Constantin manufacturer caliber 2475. Geneva Hallmark inside and out. It's now a full case standard of finish as well as chronometry, and you can see the immaculate finish of the movement is everything you expect of a Vacheron manufacturer caliber. Automatic winding, unidirectional with ceramic rotor bearings. It has a little bit of tech, 4 Hz beat rate or 28.8. It features a stop seconds function, so you can set the watch precisely, and you'll note the Geneva Hallmark blazoned on the half bridge for the balance. 30 meters water resistant, not an aquatic watch, but immensely detailed. You can see the linear Côte de Genève across the bridges laid down with an abrasive wheel, black polished screw heads with chamfered slots, mirrored anglage in every jewel and screw sink as well as the edges of every bridge. And you'll note that the rotor itself is both hand finished and skeletonized with a hand applied, that is an inserted Vacheron Constantin skeletonized and black polished Maltese cross logo. So this is the works and everything you expect of a Vacheron inside and out. A gorgeous watch that makes no compromises. Throw this complicated high horology piece on your wrist on the watch box. Vacheron 56, fully loomed.